Welcome to the Cast Off. This is the #1 recasting show on the internet in the world, where two contestants compete by recasting your favorite actors in movies you love. I'm your host, Craig Price, and tonight we leave the big city and we head out to Out on the Range as two returning players, filmmaker and YouTuber Tami Anderson and from the Nerdy Bitches podcast, Liz Serna, compete for City Slickers. So we'll start with the birthday girl. Happy birthday, Tami.
Oh, thanks so much. It's so exciting to be here.
I won't ask you how old you are, but you are like 31, right?
Absolutely.
So what's been going on with you since we last saw you do Rogue One? It's very Star Warsy with you in the background.
It is. It's probably my favorite. I've just been working on my channel, and I've been doing some interviews with female filmmakers, which has been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And I know personally you've been moving and you've been getting all kinds of stuff, but also we're getting geared up for FanX. I'm looking forward to seeing you in person every September.
So
you are the highlight, or one of many highlights at FanX when I get to see you. Usually you're right in front of guest services, but this year you're going to be all over the place. So that's going to be super fun. And from someone I'm looking forward to seeing to someone I look forward to have seen, Liz Serna, how are you?
I'm great. It was amazing to actually see you for the first time in 2 years.
Yeah, long time no see. How was your Comic Palooza experience?
It started great, didn't end great, but that was a more personal situation happening. But I had so much fun. I had so much fun getting to hang out with everybody again and just see humans. It was delightful.
And you did the Nerdy Bitches podcast with my lovely wife out on the floor, which was a unique experience.
It was.
It's not a format you're used to, especially usually we do Cards Against Humanity and I join in and kind of wrangle things going on. And this year it was just out on the floor, which was weird. How did you think it was different doing it that way?
We tend to avoid the floor shows in
floor
favor
shows?
of the panel. Well, that's what we call it. The show on the floor. Mostly just because it's not a situation we're used to. And again, our show is Nerdy Bitches, so it's already kind of explicit, and we had to really watch our faces and not say the things that we would normally say because there are small children walking by.
And yet my wife still dropped an F-bomb, so
She did.
Yep.
And it was kind of delightful because I just knew it was going to be me, so it wasn't me this time. So.
Nope, maybe she was drinking because that's why she was enough to say the F word.
Drinking.
But let's get on to the game. We've got an exciting game for you guys tonight. And we'll start with the rules, which have not changed. They are as simple as always. I'm going to throw out an actor in the character that he played, and you are going to give me a replacement. Think of it as the multiverse for movies. The best choice gets 1 point. And I also participate, so if you get my secret selection, you could get a point. And oftentimes, the secret selection is the best choice. Well, technically, it's always the best choice, but not all the judges agree sometimes. And so it's often a good way if you get behind, jumping ahead, getting back on top, getting 2 quick points if you can sync up your mind with me, which nobody really wants. The person with the most points wins because we're in America. And if there is a tie, a double feature will be needed to win, and we will discuss that when and if it is necessary. But as always, this show is brought to you by Matinee Heroes, and this Saturday, as we do the entire month, we celebrate Alan's birthday and mine, but specifically Alan's birthday, with his pick of The Raid Redemption that we did live together, face-to-face in Comic Palooza, where you can hear us giggling and being giddy. And so that's why I have not edited it, because we were cranked up to 11 on the excitement factor, and I think that a lot of people probably want to hear that. So you can head over to matineeheroes.com/subscribe. And you can join the audio podcast of Matinee Heroes. Or you can also head over to matineeheroes.com/castoff and subscribe to the video stream that you're watching right now. If you haven't, head over to YouTube and please subscribe. We need about 44 more people so we can get that beautiful custom URL. That way I can easily send people there versus the youtube.com/ So, you can also hear this show every Thursday with the exclusive cast-off post-game show every Thursday in the news feed. So hopefully you are enjoying that. I've noticed that we are not losing any listeners on Thursdays, so that's a good sign. So if you guys are ready, let's get to... It is a movie about men who are going through a midlife crisis, and they do it by herding cattle. City Slickers. Now, did you guys both watch this movie to do this recast, or did you just wing it?
I watched it again because it's
I
been
watched.
about 20 years maybe since I saw it last.
Yeah, I love this movie, and I was like, oh, I have to watch a movie that I love again. I have no problem with this.
I watched it again too, and it is quite entertaining still today. I mean, the fact that we have two guys trying to work cell phones out in the desert nowadays, it might actually work. But knowing my wife and I have to drive through Death Valley to get to her father's house, we know there is no service out there. So we have flipped the coin. Tammy is going first. So Tammy, we are going to start with the lovely and talented Billy Crystal, the great Billy Crystal. God, I love him. He's so funny and so talented. As the midlife crisis Mitch Robbins, who's going to try to solve all his woes by herding cattle. Who do you have replacing the lead character, Mitch Robbins, by by Billy Crystal?
Oh my gosh, this was so hard. His hello is completely and utterly iconic. And I spent a lot of time on this, and I needed somebody that really embodied that, and I went with Simon Pegg.
Yes.
Yeah.
Simon Pegg, known for nerdy underachievers, like he was in Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, but he was also in The Force Awakens, being a Star Wars. We'll have to get that in there. He was the oversized blob that would refuse rations to Rey. Oh, I hated him.
Yes.
Yes, Simon Pegg would be great. I like him because he's very understated as well.
Yeah, and in Star Trek, he's Scotty. I mean, he is just all over the place and utterly delightful. I have a crush on him.
Okay, well, he is
fun.
utterly delightful. Liz, what crush did you pick for Mitch Robbins?
Not a crush. Not for me anyway. I wanted to go with someone who, again, has that midlife crisis, about to hit 40, a little bit jaded. I went with Seth Rogen.
As long as he doesn't have to laugh, I'm in. I'm all in. I cannot stand his laugh, but he does a lot of good stuff. He was great in Knocked Up, The Interview, which almost caused World War III. Have you seen An American Pickle on HBO? That's his new one where he falls into a vat of pickles in the 19 teens, and it's a very much a Futurama situation where he pops out in the new world, in the present. So let's head over to our board. We have Simon Pegg. We have Seth Rogen. I went with Jason Bateman because we'll talk about put upon middle-age crisis guys. He plays that to a T. The judges decided on Simon Pegg. So Tammy starts off with 1 point. You have the lead. Now we move on to Daniel Stern's browbeaten adulterer, Phil Berquist, who, yes, cheats on his wife with Lisa Simpson. So, Liz, who do you have playing? Oh, he's so browbeaten. He's has to fall asleep. He's got to fake asleep just to stay away from his wife.
Yeah, I get that. I went with someone who I felt could really embody that kind of put upon nice guy, just pushed to the brink, and I went with Ed Helms.
Oh, nice. Ed Helms is he's that awkward average guy that we see in all the movies, like the Hangover movies, Vacation, Tag, but made his money and made his name in The Office and on The Daily Show. So he's got a lot of talent. He can do a lot of different things. Plus, if we need to have a banjo scene in the middle, remember when Curly and Mitch are out there with the harmonica, swap that out for a banjo. You're still on topic.
Yep.
So now we'll get to Tammy. Tammy, who do you have playing Phil, the grocery store manager who works for his father-in-law, which I can't imagine. Oh, I mean, I love my father-in-law, but come on.
Yeah, I went with somebody who I first noticed in Firefly and is a great voice actor. He's done Star Wars and just all kinds of things. But he was iconic as Wash, as the put upon husband, especially the episode War Games or the War Stories in Firefly, and I went with Alan Tudyk.
Love him.
Yes, he's known for playing awkward animals, mostly voices in Zootopia, Ice Age. He's in every Ice Age movie, but he's not the same character. He was Iago in Aladdin. And then he played Hi Hi or Hee Hee. Hi Hi.
Hey.
Hey Hey. See, I got them all wrong. I went with all the vowels and missed it. He plays a chicken. They brought him back to play a chicken in Moana. And he plays the armadillo thing that's in Raya and the Last Dragon.
And he was also in Frozen. He was the bad guy in Frozen.
Oh, yeah.
Or the Count in Frozen.
Yeah, well, but that wasn't an animal. In fact, I believe what he's playing in Zootopia and he's playing in Frozen are the same name. One is Weaselton and one is Wesselton or something like that.
Yeah.
We're watching Resident Alien, and he is hilarious in that. So if you haven't seen Resident Alien, he's perfect.
I haven't seen that one yet.
He's an alien. But he's great because he's Alan Tudyk. So we've got Ed Helms, Alan Tudyk. I went with Bill Hader because he's kind of weird and regular. And the judges decided on, reluctantly, Ed Helms. Even the judge said, I don't want to, but I have to vote for Ed Helms in this situation because I love Alan Tudyk.
Right.
But Ed Helms fits this a little bit better, he thought. So it is now tied up. Liz won, Tammy won. All right. Next, we have the only one that looks like a cowboy. He looks like a real cowboy in this, which is weird because he's the commitment phobe and danger seeker Ed Furlow, played by the late, great Bruno Kirby. So we'll start with Tammy. Who do you have playing? I'm sorry, I did not buy him as a guy who was going to get the 22-year-old girl. He just wasn't buying it.
No, but he's got that swagger, and I am so sad that we lost him so early. But I went with somebody who exudes that confidence, even if they're on small in stature. I went with Kevin Hart.
Yes, Kevin Hart, known for obviously doing stand-up, but he's been in the Jumanji movies. He's done The Upside, and then I haven't seen Fatherhood, but I heard he's really good in Fatherhood, the Netflix movie. I guess he's trying to diversify and not just be a ha-ha funny guy, but be a real actor. So I heard a rumor that he really lives inside Dwayne Johnson, and Dwayne Johnson is just a human suit.
It's good headcanon.
Yeah.
Well, Liz, who do you have to replace Bruno Kirby?
Well, I wanted to go with somebody who could absolutely pull off the swagger, but could also pull off the 22-year-old where Mr. Bruno could not. I went Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
So you went younger anyway. So he actually is in his 40s now.
He's not that much younger than I am. So
yeah. So Joseph Gordon-Levitt, very talented. He's always known for the handsome second guy. Whoever's the lead, he's the buddy. Like in Looper, he's Bruce Willis's buddy. Inception, he's Leo DiCaprio's buddy. Dark Knight Rises, he's Bruce Wayne's buddy. But he's very talented, and yes, I could see that. So we have Kevin Hart, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. For me, this was the key to everybody. Once I picked this person, everybody else locked into place. So I went with John Hamm, who I could see him well into his 50s, still dating 22-year-olds, sadly.
Yeah.
And so after that, I was like, well, I need a Jason Bateman to be his friend, and Bill Hader would be a good one. So the judges came together, and JGL, oh yeah, got to go with he's so handsome. He's dreamy.
He's adorable. I love him.
So Liz comes back with 2 in a row. All right. Well, now we get to the obligatory lady. She's there. Now, some people think her boyfriend stood her up. In the movie, it sounds like one of her girlfriends stood her up, and so she was going to come out there with one of her friends. But she's out there to be fawned upon and just to, say, look, we got a lady in the movie. So, Liz, who's your lonely, lonely lady out there on the lone prairie?
Poor Bonnie. I would have just canceled the trip myself, but yeah. I wanted to go with somebody who, again, for whatever reason, Bonnie's always going to be a blonde to me, and I just it was that Helen Slater girl next door kind of look. So I went with Annie Murphy.
Annie Murphy. I had to look this up because I know her by face, but I don't know her name. She is known for Annoying Socialites from Schitt's Creek, which I can say without getting bleeped here on YouTube. It's on Schitt's Creek. Unlike the show she's on now, Kevin Can himself, which is I think it's on Showtime, and she's going to be up on Russian Doll, which is Natasha Lyonne's show, which is coming back on Netflix. So now we go.
Love her, so.
Say that again?
I said I just love her.
she's really good on Schitt's Creek, which is weird because Dan Levy's actual sister is Twyla or Twilla or whatever. See, I'm thinking of Utah, so it's Twilla. So, Tammy, who do you have playing the lone lady?
I just went with somebody who exuded girl next door energy too, but had a little bit. She could go a little out there, and I went with Sarah Rue.
Ah, Sarah Rue, who's a girl next door type, absolutely. So a lot of people will remember her from The Big Bang Theory, but she's been in a lot of movies like Pearl Harbor, The Ring. She was the Attorney General in Idiocracy. And then lately she's been in a series of unfortunate events, which is actually a show and not just a statement about her career. So, so now we get to Annie Murphy, Sarah Rue. I've just watched Hooper, which is we're going to record later on, and I forget how adorable Sally Field was when she was in her 20s and 30s. God, she is just the perfect girl next door type. She's so sweet and smart and wonderful. And that's what Bonnie is. Bonnie has to be a very idyllic lady. That's why everybody's kind of, oh, hey, it's all excited and stands up for her. And, well, the judges conspired and they decided Annie Murphy. So Liz takes a pretty commanding lead, a 3-1. But we still have lots of a game left to go as we get to the star of the show, an Oscar winner for Curly Washburn, Jack Palance. Now, my mother constantly reminds me, for whatever reason, I think it's the only celebrity she's ever met, that she has met Jack Palance before. And if you know my mother, she's from a small town in New Hampshire. Nobody famous ever comes through town, so this was a big deal. So Tammy, who do you have playing the hardcore, real down-home cowboy?
It's so funny that you mentioned that your mom met Jack Palance, because the person who I selected, I also met, and he gives great hugs. I chose somebody who I think he's often misunderstood, I think, but he's so great in everything that he does. He just brings it up a notch, and I chose Michael Rooker.
Ah, Michael Rooker's someone I have met as well. I've met him several times. He is really a sweet, nice guy.
He's just so nice. And he actually, when I met him at FanX, actually took the time to talk to me, and we talked for like 10 minutes.
Yep.
And he gave the best hugs.
He
was
is
awesome.
really good with the fans. And now Liz will remember, because she did the episode of Tombstone we did for Matinee Heroes. What a baby-faced Michael Rooker. We took like 5 minutes to talk about how young he was.
Yeah.
But of course, Guardians of the Galaxy as Yondu. We did Days of Thunder, where he was baby-faced there. It was just crazy how young he was. He's been around for so long. And he's going to be in the upcoming Suicide Squad that's premiering on Friday. Michael Rooker, great pick, great guy, absolutely. Liz, who have you met that you put in this spot?
Absolutely nobody. No, no. I was trying. It's hard to replace somebody like Jack Palance because he's just iconic and slightly insane, and that's great. And it's got that old cowboy vibe. So I was trying to pick somebody who has the old movie, old Hollywood cowboy vibe, also slightly crazy, and someone who does weird stuff. And I went with Charlton Heston.
Ah, absolutely. Also from Tombstone. And he's known for cold, dead hands, or at least you got to pry the guns from him. But he was in The Ten Commandments, Ben-Hur, the original Planet of the Apes, and the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes, and True Lies, where he wore his patch. But I tried to find a cowboy version. It's very hard to find pictures of him in high definition because it's been so long since he's passed. So let's say we got Michael Rooker, Charlton Heston. I pulled out the big guns, and I went with Harrison Ford, because you want cranky, old guy. Harrison Ford right now, perfect. Cowboys and Aliens, Harrison Ford. The judges talked it over, and they went with Charlton Heston. So Liz is on a run, 4-1. But there's still 4 points left on the board. It's still possible. Well, now we get to the first of two brothers who are supposed to be Ben and Jerry, and they are Barry and Ira. Barry Shalowitz, played by Joss Mostel. So apparently he can tell what ice cream goes with what meal, which, as far as I'm concerned, is BS, because all ice cream of any flavor goes with every meal. You can actually make ice cream a meal, and I've done that several times during the quarantine.
Because you're a grown-up, and that's part of the point.
Yeah.
So,
A whole pint of everything but the yeah. I can eat that. They got a new half-baked peanut butter. Well, enough shilling for Ben and Jerry's, who are not a sponsor. Liz, who do you have as the? I guess he's the tongue, which sounds gross. He's the taste buds of the business.
Again, some of this is just typecast because it's funnier that way, I guess. I went with Wayne Knight because I just love him and he's ridiculous, and I could just absolutely see him getting into this. But I'm kind of with you on like weird, annoying laughs, so maybe let's not laugh too much.
Right. Also, he's known for shifty weasels. He's a shifty weasel in Jurassic Park. He's a shifty weasel on Seinfeld. I had no idea he was in Punisher Warzone. That was crazy. He plays Microchip, which is a staple in the Punisher comic books as the computer nerd. But and then, of course, we just did Space Jam 2 weeks ago, and Basic Instinct, he just sits there to drop his jaw when she crosses her legs. So, Tammy, get us out of this this whole we're talking about the dirty Basic Instinct, and let's talk about something more wholesome in Utah. So, who do you have?
I went with somebody who is a font of completely useless information and embraces it wholeheartedly. And I just felt that he could embrace the whole thing when it comes to ice cream, and his 9-minute monologue in Parks and Rec going on about Star Wars is just makes me, warm and fuzzy. So I went with Patton Oswalt.
Of course. I could perfectly see him do this. Yes, absolutely. Going on and on about different flavors and combinations and why they would fit with this Chardonnay and this, everything. Yeah. So we know him as a stand-up. He's super funny, but he's also a very good actor. As we saw in Big Fan, he is in Ratatouille, and of course, Young Adult, where he is with Charlize Theron. So that's how I know he's in that, because I watched that movie, because it's got Charlize in it. So we've got Wayne Knight, Patton Oswalt. I went with Zach Galifianakis because he's kind of weird. And the judges went with Patton Oswalt. Yes. So Tammy is back. She is within striking distance. So Tammy, let's explain what's going to happen here. You are 2 points away. There are exactly 2 points on the board. Not only do you have to get the point from the judges, but also you have to mentally get in touch with my mindset. And what would Craig put in this? And I try not to make it difficult. I don't go with the most obvious, but I go with the best person. So think about who you think would be the best person for this. And we'll start off with going back to Ira. Ira seems to be the brains of the operation, played by David Paymer. And David Paymer's very talented, and has after this is what really brought him to stardom, where he started to do a lot more things. So Tammy, thinking about what would Craig do, who do you have playing Ira Shalowitz?
So who you think I should choose?
Both. No, you go with who you picked.
Okay.
I'm just
I picked somebody who has played a Russian doctor, a con man from the 20s, and his iconic trends, oh my gosh, I'm totally blanking on the lyrics, from Transsexual Transylvania. I chose Tim Curry.
Yes. Tim Curry.
He has the brains in anything you see him in.
Absolutely. He's devilishly awesome. So you can, we did The Hunt for Red October and The Three Musketeers on the show. So we know and love Tim Curry.
Yeah.
And of course, Clue, he's fantastic. Where this picture is from Home Alone 2. I forgot that he was in that, but yeah. So
well, his I could not take showers for years, in just where it was just like, oh my gosh. Yeah, he was absolutely terrifying.
You know, after I saw him in it, I couldn't go down into a sewer again. It was really weird.
Yeah.
I gave up that sewer habit years
Yeah,
ago.
I know. Oh, well, my one glitch. There's the glitch.
Spoiler.
So we got the glitch. That happens once a show. So we know who it is now, Liz. You went with...
I went with Nathan Lane.
Oh, he's wonderful.
I love him. And I just feel like he's funny enough to carry a kind of a straight funny, or like, you know, the straight man to the funny guy or whatever. But I feel like he also would just look ridiculous out in the desert on a horse with no name kind of situation. So I just think he would pull it off delightfully.
Well, if anyone's ever seen Joe versus the Volcano, you know that he's not afraid to look ridiculous as the chief. It's so obnoxious how he looks so regular. He looks just like a regular white dude dressed up like Hawaiian. It's so sad. It's hilarious. And
I love that movie so much.
Can I just say, I find it ironic that we both chose somebody who have been known for their outrageous performances, like musical performances.
Yeah.
I find that ironic.
Well, yeah. I think he's very talented, and I love him very much. I saw him in Modern Family. It was always a surprise to see him in Modern Family. He's so obnoxious in that, and he's got that. He can play obnoxious and sweet at the same time.
Yes.
So here we go, Tammy. It's all about you.
Okay.
We've got Tim Curry, and we got Nathan Lane. Now, Tim Curry comes to conventions all the time. Sweet guy. Unfortunately, he had a stroke, so he's not acting as much. But I hear he's doing well. He does do a lot of shows, and he is absolutely wonderful in everything he does. We just did Knives Out for the podcast, where we talked about Tim Curry and Clue a little bit. So he's definitely on my mind. So that's a possibility. But then we have Liz with Nathan Lane, who I just said we just finished up watching Modern Family. But there's other judges involved, and what you need is both. Unfortunately, the judges went with Nathan Lane just by a split. So that means
for a change.
That means, Liz, you have won, and you get today's final thought.
That's exciting.
It sounds it. You sound ecstatic.
I actually am. I was thinking about how many times I've played this game, and not one. So I'm very excited about that. I think my final thought on this particular movie is that whoever was in charge of picking the music for the end credit really failed. Like, it was not. I love this movie so much, and it's got heart and it's got comedy, and then they put the like weirdest 80s love ballad on the end of the credits. It was just, and while you're watching him drive through town with Norman the cow in the van, it was just like.
But that's what they did starting in like 88. I think it was Working Girl. It was, you know, Let the Rivers Run by Carly Simon, and then it was Bryan Adams. Everybody's got to have a song at the end, and you're right. It's a little.
It was very strange. It was just not what I was anticipating to pop up during the credits. Because again, it's been a real long time since I've seen it. So.
Well, this is why we love you, Liz, because most times final thoughts are something positive and wonderful, but you, one last shot at the director and the producers of City Slickers, letting them know that, hey.
Not a podcast. I didn't get to take shots at them. So.
That's right. Well, let's talk about next week. And it is a Stolen Droids bonanza as Movies That Make Us. Jake Deeds goes up against Cutscenes and Cupcakes, Stephanie Lissman, as we do something we've never done here at Cast Off before. We are recasting a movie that hasn't even come out yet. That's right. The Suicide Squad premieres Friday, but as of right now, they're on the clock to recast a movie that has not even come out yet. And hopefully they will go back in time. They will jump into the Wayback Machine and recast with the newest movie we've ever done on the Cast Off. But this should be very interesting. As if you'd like to come on the show, you could easily just head over to matineeheroes.com/castoff/application, fill one out, and you could possibly be on the show. We've had several people who've applied to be on the show, and they've done quite well. You can also email me at mhcastoff@gmail.com, but guess what? I'm probably just going to send you back to the URL and say thanks for emailing me, but hey, that's what we do here. If you enjoyed the show, you can follow us on Twitter at The Cast Off Show, join the Facebook group. Also, matineeheroes.com/castoff will send you over to the YouTube channel. Please subscribe. We need the custom URL so I can change this to youtube.com/matineeheroes or the castoff. Depends on what we're going to do. And obviously, we are still streaming on twitch.tv. Special thanks to additional judges Alex Barnhill, last week's winner, and mainstay and favorite guest host, despite the fact that you guys are also some of our favorite guest hosts. But Elizabeth comes on at least probably about once every other month. She's absolutely wonderful. Thanks for her time. And of course, on behalf of today's show, Tami Anderson, and of course, our winner, Liz Lemon. Yes, right. I went back to the old Liz Lemon. My name is Craig. This has been The Cast Off.